Shannon, Mr. Sharp, and this whole fiasco, the civil suit, it's not a criminal suit, it's not a criminal lawsuit, so they're not seeking jail time. They just want the moolah, the money. And that's why some people are questioning it, saying, okay, this Gabrielle lady wants the 50 million, all of that, but why no criminal charges? Now, even though someone doesn't want to put you in jail, they just want the money for what they say you did to them, doesn't mean you didn't do it. But I know people side-eye like the stuff that he's being accused of. Why not punish him and put him in jail? Just getting the money or whatever you settle for is not enough. He won't learn his lesson, whoever the person may be. Why wouldn't a man or woman file a criminal charge to get a person locked up if this is what they did? The stuff that she's describing, which would get a person put in jail, you know? And so people side eye Gabrielle because of that. But, it's her prerogative. She's working with attorney Tony Busby to get that money. Some feel it's a shakedown. Shannon Sharpe said it's a shakedown. But now they say another woman has accused them and she has come out. Now, the way some of the titles are put together, it makes it seem like this is a new woman. It is a second woman, but it's not a new woman. This was the first woman to accuse him. The way the titles are going around, you think, oh, somebody else came out just this month in addition to Gabrielle, the lady who's going under Jane Doe who wants the 50 million. That Shannon's getting ready to sign this $100 million podcast deal in the coming days or whatever, however that's going to play out. But no, she is not a new lady. She is actually the first accuser. But for some reason, this was in 2023. She filed it in New York. They've never highlighted this case. And so I'm going to take you through it. A woman suing Shannon for alleged defamation also alleges in the complaint that Shannon assaulted her in 2010. Her name is Michelle Evans, and she filed the suit against Sharpe 13 years later. Some may say, why did she wait so long? In 2023 in a New York court. This is nearly 2 years before Gabrielle, who's going under Jane Doe, accused him of taking advantage of her in a lawsuit that was filed in Nevada in April 2025, earlier this week. And, Shannon has denied everything. But this is the first lady. It's not a new lady that just came forward. But they never said anything about this in 2023. In 2023, I remember Shannon was just on ESPN covering NFL, NBA. Never heard anything about this suit from Michelle Evans. They kept it under the rug. Everything was quiet. And so, usually, like the case with Jay-Z and Puff Daddy and the 13-year-old back in 2003 who's autistic, and that's just that one accusation. They say it's easier if it's just one to fight it and get out the way with. But when multiples come, it becomes harder. More people start thinking that you are guilty. So this is just the second. That makes it a multiple. But this has already been in play. This is not new. So it may not necessarily hurt Shannon as much because this is from 2 years ago. They're just bringing light on it now. This is not a new suit. People saying another woman, but no, it's really not another woman. It's the first woman. And nothing came out of that. It seems like, I don't know if Shannon paid her, whatever the case may be, but I didn't see anything in 2023 or any 2024 indication last year that something came out of this. Shannon was riding high on Club Shay Shay and Nightcap with Ocho Cinco. But they bring this one up now, I think, just to help further push the allegations against Shannon that he's guilty of what Gabrielle is accusing him of. So, I mean, it helps in her case, but at the same time, since it's older, maybe not as much as it would if this lady just filed this in April this year. This is brand new lawsuit in addition to Gabrielle. No, this is the first lawsuit. So Shannon denied it. And in the New York complaint, we'll go more into that. Michelle Evans, she's representing herself, so no lawyer, okay, claims she had been in a relationship with Shannon for nearly 10 years and they ended it in 2010. That's way before he was on ESPN and things like that. He was retired from the NFL by 2010. He went into the Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2011. So she says her and Shannon got into an argument over his alleged infidelity. So she's accusing Shannon of cheating back in 2010. And she's saying Shannon requested that the two of them have sex and that she refused. Then Shannon proceeded to forcibly subdue her down to her knees and then non consensual penetration. Okay. So it's forcing oral on her. And then, despite her complaining, saying no, he kept going. That's what she's complaining about. Then she even further claims the assault continued beyond the forcible oral. Thereafter, Shannon's coercion escalated as he maneuvered her onto the bed and then did non consensual penetration again, all the while proclaiming his intent to make it so no other man would want her. This is what Evans is alleging. Shannon Sharpe has denied all of this. So she's not suing Shannon for assault for SA. She claims he tried to ruin her reputation, and the ensuing media commentary was rife with defamatory commentary, assailing her professional reputation. So she feels it makes it hard for her to make an income, get a job. And so she gave a statement to page 6. Oh, no, she didn't. In the statement to page 6, Shannon Sharpe's representative denies everything Evans is saying. And the proceedings in Evans' civil case are still ongoing, though a judge did deny her request for an order of protection. Okay. And so Jane Doe, that's the current one, that's Gabrielle. Sharpe announced that he's stepping away from ESPN. Some say he's been fired, but he hasn't been fired. Sounds like him and ESPN came to a mutual agreement to step down. He did say that he'll be back at the start of the NFL preseason, which is August 2025. We'll see if he does come back. I've seen some people in comments on other YouTube videos saying that he will be gone. In particular, Stephen A. Smith's videos in the comments of people saying he won't be coming back to ESPN. I'm going to let you all hear a little bit of Stephen A. as well. That's his friend. So let's see here. My statement is found here, and this is the truth. Shannon Sharpe said the relationship in question was 100% consensual. So everybody was in agreement, he's saying. So in the statement sent to people on April 25th, Friday, Mitchell Schuster, Shannon's lawyer, says it should be of no surprise that when someone famous is in the news, all sorts of people crawl out of the woodwork to share their connection to him in an attempt to profit from an alleged relationship. In many cases, those stories or accusations are nothing more than old news, exaggerations, misrepresentations of fact. They share them on social media, then it's given to reporters with the intentions of factual omissions and no regard for the truth. This is obviously purposeful, designed to create a fabricated narrative. This is exactly what is happening to Shannon, and the resurrection of the case involving Michelle Evans is a perfect example. So I guess we can question the timing of them bringing back Michelle Evans' case with Gabrielle's case now out there. But, whatever they need to do to get this money out of Shannon, if he's guilty, even if he's innocent, if he decides, he said he's going to fight it because settling makes it seems like you're guilty. But some people just wanted to go away even though they're innocent, so they pay the person off. Like we know about the situation with Gabrielle where Shannon offered 10 million and she turned it down. That makes him look bad, but he may have just been trying to make it go away. But now he's saying he's just going to fight it all the way through and not pay a single dime, if he's found not guilty, however they want to go through with this. Because if he's going to fight it through and there's not going to be a settlement, then it's going to end up going to trial. So this can get even messier. And who knows if a third woman will be revealed. We'll see. Bottom line, Shannon has done nothing wrong and intends to fight back against these lies, not with manufactured defenses or imaginary stories, but with documentary proof and real evidence. Okay, we'll see. And the statement is, I missed this part. When she could not find a lawyer to pursue her outrageous story, this is Michelle Evans. She filed a civil complaint on her own that is completely devoid of merit. Shannon has had no contact with Michelle Evans, that's this person, for many years. And so here it is down here. He's stepping away from ESPN. He plans to return to the network for the 2025 football season. We shall see if they welcome him back. And there's the National Assault Hotline. If you or someone you know is going through this, for real, definitely inform some people. I'm going to let you all hear some from Stephen A. Just a little bit. Fair use, YouTube, fair use. Here's a little bit what Stephen A. had to say on his show about it. This is the latest from him.
And it's involving Mr. Shannon Sharpe, who announced yesterday that he would be stepping away from ESPN and ESPN's First Take, my daytime job, at least until the NFL preseason sometime later on this summer. As you may recall, a lawsuit was filed against Shannon on Sunday by a woman using the name Jane Doe, or using a Jane Doe pseudonym. The 13-page civil complaint filed in Nevada alleged that Shannon Sharpe committed assault, sexual assault, battery, and sexual battery. Shannon and his attorneys responded with evidence of the relationship being, quote unquote, consensual. And Jane Doe's attorney, Tony Busby, responded by releasing audio of an alleged conversation between his client and Shannon. For those that don't know, Tony Busby is the same attorney that filed the lawsuit against Jay-Z and Diddy, alleging they both sexually assaulted a minor, which has since been withdrawn. Jay-Z has now countersued Busby. Needless to say, the headlines this week took on a life of their own, and as a result, Shannon announced he was stepping away from ESPN. Here's a portion of Shannon's statement that he posted on social media. Quote, "I will be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with these false and disruptive allegations set against me. I plan to return to ESPN at the start of the NFL preseason. I sincerely appreciate the overwhelming and ongoing support I have received from my family, fans, friends, and colleagues," end quote.
Looking to sell your home without the headaches? Jeff here with JeffBuysYourHouse.com, your trusted home buyer in Chicago.
It's been a difficult week from a sports media perspective, certainly as it pertains to First Take. Shannon Sharpe became a friend. When I recruited him to come on board on ESPN's First Take, he came on board and he did a sensational job. No matter the amount of success that we enjoyed for the 12 years prior to his arrival, he helped take it to another level last year. And we were doing our thing this year as well. And so when the news came down that he and ESPN had mutually agreed that he would need to come off the airwaves of ESPN, it was a blow to the show, a blow to me personally, because I'm going to miss him. But it was not a surprise. When I was on the air just a few days ago, a lot of people were looking for me to say something. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to speak to one's innocence or one's guilt about something I have absolutely positively no knowledge of whatsoever. Do I believe that Shannon Sharpe is guilty of what he has been accused of? Absolutely not. That is my personal opinion. The brother that I've come to know, I don't believe would assault or rape anybody. And I'm going to state that emphatically. But just as emphatically, I'm going to remind everybody it is my opinion because of what I feel about him. Not in any way implying that I know a damn thing beyond that, because I don't know. I've seen the text messages released by his lawyer, who, by the way, I don't think has been impressive in this at all, because some of the information that was let out to the public, I have no idea why a lawyer would advise such a thing, but that's a different subject for another day. And we're allowed to deduce from an opinion perspective what we believe and what we don't, so long as we concede that we have no way of knowing definitively what the truth is. What I can speak about is the fact that this three-time Super Bowl champion and this Hall of Famer, who emphatically stated to me over the phone how innocent he is of these allegations that have been levied against him, insisting repeatedly that anything you read, anything you see, anything you hear was fully and totally consensual. In the same breath, what's inescapable is that without us knowing all the merits, he was working with Disney, where I've worked since 2003, excluding my departure from 2009 to 2011, when I was gone for those 2 years. Outside of that, I've been at Disney since October of 2003. I know this place. I know the worldwide leader that is ESPN, who's under the umbrella of Disney. And it wasn't difficult for me to figure out what was transpiring. As I sit here before you today discussing this matter, ESPN and Disney have a wait and see attitude when it comes to whatever evidence they may learn about this entire situation involving Shannon Sharpe from a legal and from a civil perspective. What they didn't need, as it pertains to those two things that I just mentioned, they didn't need any definitive evidence at this particular moment in time about all of that stuff, once all the things Shannon Sharpe's lawyer put out there. It was uncomfortable to listen to, and it was not something that Walt Disney once associated with its brand. So to have him on the airwaves while all of that stuff was put out there was not something that Disney was going to take. That.
So there you have it, with some of Stephen A's take on it, and the whole Disney brand, ESPN, and just wanting everything to be looking honorable. They don't want any type of allegations associated with their brand, how they operate, and that's understandable. And it's part of the reason why Shannon and ESPN have mutually agreed to take some time off from each other while this processes. Disney, been around a long time. Their movies, family friendly brand, theme parks. They don't need any of that, hanging over their head. And so, like Stephen A said, it was no surprise that Shannon had to go while this is going on. They can't have him on the air, doing commentary, yet still dealing with allegations outside of sports. So that's what Stephen A had to say about it. And he's speaking as a friend. He believes Shannon is innocent. That's his personal opinion. He doesn't like the lawyer too much at this point, but that's who Shannon has picked. And like I said, we'll see what happens. And we just have to be a lot more careful out here with who we choose to engage in relationships with. No matter the age, obviously, at least 18. People have their issues with that, but by U.S. Constitution, that is what is legal, 18 and up. If one person is 18, then the other has to be 18, and if they're 60, then that's legal as well. People might not like it, they might think it's not moral, but 60 and 18, no one is going to jail. But in this case, her being legal, she met Shannon, Gabrielle did at 19. You still have to watch. Some feel she was trying to set him up. That's again people's opinion. Maybe she is, you know, with the text messages, recording things. I'm going to show you all some text messages that you probably heard about. In the blue, um, this is all from January this year, 2025. In the blue, that's everything sent from Gabrielle, the lady with the civil suit, and she's wanting the 50 million from Shannon. In the green, that's Shannon responding back to her. So you can see the top text, January 2nd at 4:01. But I cried when you left because I begged you to put on a condom and not put it in my ass, and you didn't listen. I don't care what our history is. No means no, Shannon. Then she says, I don't know how to process this. Shannon texts her, can I call you later? I guess to speak about whatever happened days before in their sexual encounter where she told him no and he didn't listen. These type of things, if someone is telling you no, you need to stop, man or woman, and don't proceed, especially when it comes to, sexual intercourse, intimacy, things like that in the bedroom. And then you get text messages like these as evidence. And so all of this has to be investigated. Now, I've heard only women talking about this situation from a relationship perspective in terms of frontal lobe being fully developed to where you can make clear-cut decisions as an adult and you're fully mature. And they say it's 25. It's always 25 for men and women. That's when we can fully make decisions. We can't be taken necessarily advantage of in terms of being manipulated or controlled by someone who is over 25. And then they're saying this. I heard a woman say this about Shannon Sharpe. They met when she was 19, so he wanted control, and so he going after someone who's under 25 to where he can manipulate and control the narrative because she's just not fully developed. Or anyone is, male or female, until 25 in terms of, the brain. So it says, while the brain structure develops largely before puberty, the connections and functions within the frontal lobe continue to refine and mature throughout adolescence and early adulthood. So the maturation timeline, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for higher level cognitive functions like planning, decision making, and impulse control, is one of the last parts of the brain to fully finish. Research says that it continues to go until age 25. Some studies say it may take even longer, possibly into the late 20s or early 30s, especially for men. But either way, I hear this brought up in the case of when either a woman's accusing a man of doing something, or a woman may say, hey, I'm fine, but they say she doesn't know what she's talking about when she's under 25 messing with a guy who's 40, 45 or older, and they just feel like he's manipulating her. You can flip it around and have an older woman doing the same thing, but a lot of the cases that come out is these younger women filing against, older men. That's what we have in this case with Shannon and Gabrielle. But, I've yet to see this frontal lobe not developed used successfully in a courtroom. It's never used. Because if that's the case, and then you have people who commit crimes who are minors, they're under 18. Sometimes they still get tried as adults, but they're under 18. But if I'm under 18, I'm under 25, and I'm doing something, why can't my defense be, hey, I'm not fully developed. I don't know what I'm doing. I need some therapy and some training. Can I just get probation and go home? Why am I even being given jail time? I'm not fully developed. If we look at this here, but no one ever uses that defense in the court of law when the person is under 25 who's being accused of something. Whether they 18 to 24 or if they under 18, it's just they on trial, like in the case of Carmelo Anthony. He's 17. His frontal lobe is not developed according to this, but he's still going to stand trial. And they're not taking that. He's saying self-defense, but no one's using the frontal lobe defense, and they never do. I just hear it brought up on the internet only by women when you have a woman that's under 25 accusing an older man who's over 25 of doing things to her. And then they say he's going after her being younger because of how she can still be manipulated and he can control things like that. But Yvette Carnell, who's on YouTube, said, Shannon, how do you get set up by the 19-year-old? She's 21 now. They met when she was 19. And so for her to set him up and not being fully developed, her frontal lobe, then I guess what does that say about Shannon? Because how someone who's not fully developed, according to this, she's not 25 yet, able to set up, if it is indeed a setup, and she's not telling the truth, actually able to put all of this together. So people under 25 who are in jail from whatever they've done, they've managed to pull off some things that, way before their brain is fully developed, that makes you think like maybe that's why they don't use this as a defense, because these people at some point in time seem to know what they are doing if they're now in jail younger than the age of 25 though. And I see all of this here: planning, decision making, impulse control. They can't plan, they don't make good decisions, they're not ready, they can't control their urges, their impulses, but they pull off things that get them put in jail. And no one ever says, okay, well, maybe they just don't know what they're doing. So this whole frontal lobe thing, it may be true, not developed until you're 25. I'll say it is true. But it never gets used in the court of law as a defense. They just assume anybody under 25, if they're getting accused of something illegal, knew what they were doing, and they end up in jail as well. They don't go into the frontal lobe not developed. Maybe they just need therapy, and this never gets used. So I just wanted to point that out. And how do you all feel about brain not being developed at 25, and if that should give men and women a pass who get in trouble with the law under the age of 25? They just, hey, my brain is not ready for this, so you have to excuse me. Now her being her age, and now Shannon, you see here, born in Chicago, he'll be 57 this year. This is year 57 for him in June. So 55 when he met the 19-year-old. Yet if you want to go by what Yvette Carnell is saying, how you get set up, the 19-year-old has gotten this 55-year-old entangled in all of this. Frontal lobe not developed at all, not fully developed, but yet was able to get Shannon Sharpe roped into this. If that's the case, and she's just trying to get money, as Shannon is saying, and this is all false allegations. Even if it is, how can someone whose brain isn't fully developed put all of this together, and what's that say about Shannon or anyone who gets roped into this by someone who's under 25 and you're over 25 and you're just being outsmarted. I mean, you can fight the case and win. The label of being accused of what you're getting accused of, that hurts, that sticks. But how do we end up getting caught up in these situations? And in this situation, in terms of man, woman, where men, I've heard other men on the internet say men have to be more sexually disciplined to try and avoid these things. Whether the woman is 19, 21, like Gabrielle, she's 21 now, or will be, or even if it's a lady that's over 30, accusing a man of something all because of the man just being thirsty for having someone to be in the bed with, can't get enough. Because Gabrielle, they said she has an OnlyFans page, and a lot of people are saying, why are you even going after a woman who's on OnlyFans, based on what she's doing, you know, showing pictures of herself, maybe even video, half naked, whatever, to make some money. That's part of the adult industry, as they call it. And so they're looking at him in terms of him being extra freaky or whatever the case may be. But this has led to him getting caught up. Now, that's just because of, if this is a setup and that's what she was on from the start, then that's even more reason for men to be more sexually disciplined and tread lightly. Yeah. Is it going to stop men Shannon's age from messing with 19, 18-year-olds? No, because there's plenty of men out here with the same, not same story, but are older and they got an 18 or 19-year-old, and they may be, and none of this is going on. And those in the past who had an 18 and 19-year-old, and she's probably over 30 now, but they never ran into this. And so they'll say, look at Shannon, hey, that's just the situation you ran into with that one, and you didn't ask enough questions. I still mess with women that age, that much younger than me, and we never had any issues. We knew it wasn't going to be no long-term relationship. I'm old enough to be a father, but we didn't run into what he's got going on. She didn't accuse him of anything. And even the ladies out here, going back to Tracy Ellis Ross, who like the younger guys, we don't really hear stories about younger guys filing lawsuits against the older women, at least not yet. Maybe in the future we will, but some people, they're not going to stop messing with younger people. Older women are not going to stop messing with men under 25, and older men are not going to stop messing with women under 25. Just because Shannon ran into a roadblock here, they just figure, hey, I can question more effectively and make sure this younger person isn't out to try and set me up or get me and things like that. So it's all a lesson learned from, like I said, having to be more sexually disciplined and watch who we decide to go after. Again, people are saying, man, Shannon OnlyFans. Jaguar Wright was on YouTube saying there's women he could have paid that are adults. Maybe they heard, I don't know the age range. So she was saying she could have paid a woman to do everything that he's asking her to do, like, I guess, an escort, dominatrix, or whatever. Could have been around the same age, but either way, she's an adult. If he goes that route, pay, and then get done what he wants done sexually, and that's it. And you don't have to deal with any of this. But maybe he felt like he just doesn't want to go out and pay for sex. So he wants to actually have someone who he's in contact with and spending time with, in the case with Gabrielle. But then now it backfires. Now, based on what she's saying, she's basically saying, I've told him no and not to try and do these things, yet he still continues, and that's why I'm now suing to get the money. She doesn't want him in jail, just a civil suit, not a criminal charge. She just wants to get the money, and then they can go their separate ways. but he's going to fight it tooth and nail and try and clear his name. So we'll see more as this story develops. I just wanted to bring all of that full circle, the whole frontal lobe thing, the text messages, sexual discipline between men and women, older women, younger men, older men, younger women, people not liking older people messing with 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. But I don't think that's ever going to stop because the United States Constitution says it's legal. So I'll leave that there. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments about Shannon's situation. Do you think it's a shakedown? Do you think he's innocent? Do you think he is guilty, especially with Michelle Evans from the first woman, the first accuser that we didn't hear about, and now Gabrielle? And how do you think it's going to play out? Will he be allowed back in ESPN? Or is that it? What's going to happen to Club Shay Shay and Nightcap on YouTube? Your guess is as good as mine. Put it down in the comments and let me know. I want to hear from the women and the men in terms of whose side you're on. And, be objective. Let's not be in our feelings about it. But whatever you reply to in the comments about this whole situation, it's a mess all around. And, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And like this video, share it out. The channel is Facts of Feelings, all one word, no spaces. Put that in the YouTube search, Facts of Feelings, no spaces, and my channel comes right up. And if you want to send me videos or topics to discuss, send it to kregear.mj@gmail.com. That email will be down in the description of this video as well. That's my YouTube email, kregear.mj@gmail.com. Send any topics for discussion or any videos that you all come across that you want me to review to that email address, and I can check them out and continue to add content. Let's be more disciplined, ladies and gentlemen, to avoid situations like this. And I am out.